I'm still my best with you. We don't stare into the ocean, we just dive into the blue. They say the best days are yet to come, but I know that ain't true. Oh, love and living in it. But I know that ain't true. When the world gets the worst of me, I'm still my best with you. We don't stare into the ocean, we just dive into the blue. They say the best days are yet to come, but I know that ain't true. Oh, love and living in it.
Happen to talk, they'd say you had a lot of selfish lovers. Get what they want, hit and run away. Not gonna lie, if I was your guy, I would never treat you like the others. If you wanna ride, I'ma take you all the way. So let me go down, 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 down. You don't even need to ask me, I'ma go round, 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 till you've had enough. Let me go down, 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 down. You know that it makes me happy hearing you loud, 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 loud. When you feel my love, darling, you come first. Let me give you what you deserve. If I'ma love you, make you feel like you're the only one, then you come first. Let me explore you, bring it right back to Mother Nature. I wanna know how to get you to that place. So what do you like? Tell me your vice. I don't wanna love in moderation. If you wanna ride, I'ma take you all the way. So let me go down, 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 down. You don't even need to ask me, I'ma go round, 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 till you feel my love, darling. You you deserve. If I'ma love you, make you feel like you're the only one, then you come first.
Look, I be going back and forth if I should keep you. You know I'm careful who I go and give the keys to. I need a man to be around when I need him, and make sure that I come first in the sheets too. Every night you probably pray for this, but understand you ain't dealing with no basic bitch. I be H-I-G-H baiting this. Now you see why so witty don't play with tricks, cause I be on to the next if you don't come correct. No, I'm all about respect like the ice on my neck. I be running up a check, watch a bitch work. Try and keep up, baby, but I finish first. Hey.
Oh, I'll be patient with your body. I'll wait forever and a day. And if I ever fail you, darling, let me know so I can learn from my mistakes. Cause darling, you come first. Let me give you what you deserve. If I'ma love you, make you feel like you're the only one, then you come first.
Hey, I didn't even test the camera this time. Hi, Kirk. How's it going? Hi, Mark. How you doing? All right.
There we go.
Good. Kirk, were you on the meeting yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I mentioned it in the meeting, and I don't know if you were on, Mark. Oh, you were. I remember you were giving all the good input. So I mentioned it yesterday that I decided to change gears on how command is going to be taught. Because I kind of got some inspiration from how Tanya and Kelly are doing the new agent stuff. So what they've had set up is that with new agents, they have like a 5-week rotating schedule of like the same topics that just reoccur for a 5-week span. Granted, there's 2 per week, so 10 total classes. But it's the same topics because as new agents come in or as current agents decide to adopt certain aspects of command, it's going to make it a lot easier for people to know, like, oh yeah, this is the topic, or this is the class about contacts, this is the class about smart plans, the class about campaigns, and so on. And what that'll allow us to do is make a very broad topic as the focus, but then be able to dive in, depending on who shows up, into certain aspects of that topic. So it's not about me, it's trying to figure out, oh, what haven't I taught for a while? It's like, oh, well, I just say the schedule, and then if it's a topic or an aspect, or if there's a new feature in here that happens to be updated, it's like, perfect, we'll talk about that day. It has to do with whatever topic we're talking about. So hope that makes sense. But let me mess with a couple things here on my end so I can duplicate the display on the projector. Extend, duplicate.
So are you seeing people getting, I saw some stuff about, or just some about documents not being put up and not, are people actually using command, or are they just doing what they have to and moving on? Because the system is pretty incredible.
No, it depends. It honestly depends. Because I mean, from what I was told by, what I've been told by Tanya and what I've been told by Dwight and whatnot, is like when I started working here back in January 2020, command was still pretty young. It was like less than a year old, right? And since then, they've done a lot of additional features added. And then in 2021, they went on I don't know if you knew this, but they did what's called they called it the 66-day challenge, where they focused
Yep.
The idea was 66 days, bug squashing. We're going to do a sprint on just making sure that all the bugs are figured out. And we're still in the 66-day challenge. And I think it started in February. So every time I have a meeting, every Friday, they go, all right, guys, we're still in the 66-day challenge. We're on day 230, whatever. And so that's how it's been working out. But it's not because they're having trouble squashing the bugs. It's that they're not wanting to create more. They're not wanting to they want to make sure it's as stable as possible. So they have done a lot to stabilize command because I think that is more important than just continuing adding features that are half done and buggy 15% of the time. So I think going forward, I think they are starting to roll out. I've noticed that a lot of things were pushed back, but coming into the fall, who knows, maybe next week with Mega Camp, they should be announcing a handful of things, or at least rolling out a handful of things. Like, for example, there was the feature there was a collections feature where you're able to share a collections folder of homes on the KW app and on command between you and your client, right? And I need to fix this camera. I'm gonna actually, there we go. Now I'm looking at you and the camera at the same time. There we go. It's I'm looking at both of you at the same time. But yeah, so there's the collection folder, and it rolled out, I think, like 2 months ago. They're like, the collections folder, you can now share and collaborate with your clients on homes, saying, hey, I added some homes to the collection folder, go check it out. And it's like that, you don't have to send like these emails or these text messages for links to some like MLS sheet, right? You can just add it to the collections, they'll see it added to the collections, and then you're good to go, right? And then they, within like a day, rolled it back, and it hasn't been back since. But the reason is because they found a significant bug that they've been squashing, and it should be coming back soon. So if you ever have any questions about, I heard about this feature, or I thought this feature existed, let me know, because I am fully aware of like what's down the pipeline. I won't give it guarantees because usually when it says, oh, it's, you know, it's going to be available to the general audience on September 1st. It's like, all right, we'll see it in November. It's great. They're very, very optimistic at the development team is. But yeah, and I think I was wondering, so what Tanya and Dwight have said is that, you know, Command being a fairly young technology, there's a lot of veteran agents that, you know, it's you know, you guys have routines. You create the systems that work for you. And it's hard to go away from that. Even if you were like, you know, been with Keller Williams for 10, 15 years, and then now you all of a sudden they're like, you have new technology, you should use it. And it's like, no, I don't have any incentive to change right now, maybe later, you know, and it's always just easy to push back because it's
the learning curve is so much easier to stay with what you know.
Yeah.
And
exactly. And I don't blame that at all. Like I honestly, I'd be the same way. And it's just a matter of like the new agents, I think new agents, because they don't know any different, like that's what they start with. It's easy for them to pick up. It's like we all have nieces, nephews, children, or grandchildren that, you know, they pick up a phone and they know exactly what to do on it and they're 3 years old. Whereas my grandfather, 81, and I have to help him on a weekly basis of how to share a PDF on his phone. So it just, you know, so it's just a matter of like how long you've been using it, and when you started. So, you know, my hope is eventually, I think it'll become more and more agents. It's just, it does take time because it's very robust. And so while there's a lot of features, it can be daunting for someone to want to just jump in. And so my job is, and hopefully I get better as time goes on, is teaching it in a way that is concise, clear, and inviting so that people don't feel like I'm sharing how to install a nuclear bomb or something complex. So let me share my screen. Let's go here. And I'm going to go open up Command, agent.kw. Okay, so this is the first of that number of classes that I'm going to be setting up. As for how many there was going to be, I don't know the answer yet. I guess I'll find out. I mean, if there's something that seems to be a little more advanced or expansive, I may split it up into, you know, part 1, part 2. So the idea would be, you know, we're going to go over how KW Tech can, you know, be used, you know, how you can use KW Tech to your advantage. So we'll go over a lot of broad overview stuff, but going in the future, it's going to be like, you know, how to handle contacts in Command, how to manage your tasks. And I'll pretty much just almost go down this line. And so every single one of these will be covered, and then I'll just cycle over the course of, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 weeks. So I think that works perfectly fine. 11 weeks is a lot. That's you know, that's only cycling about 5 times a year. If you were to take out holidays and stuff too. So I mean, it won't be too bad. And of course we'll go over, like I said, we'll take it where people direct us to go. So on here, have either of you looked, how far have you dived into your settings? Like, what have you done in the settings? When you look at this, have you messed with it?
I don't think I've done a whole lot at all. I think it was set up for me.
Yeah, so a lot is set up when we do set up the accounts. Like DocuSign will be already connected. There's a handful of things like Command email, but
Yes, my DocuSign still isn't connected.
Really, we need to do that, Kirk. I will. Like this doesn't say.
I don't know what's wrong with it, but I've tried it several times. And
I get my DocuSign separately. I just always go open it in a different browser, both zip forms and DocuSign, get them, send it out, take care of it, dump it to my computer, and then I'll go upload it in Command. That's just been my.
And that's the thing. I remember I was working with Carrie with Fox's team, because there was a lot of recent additions to Command for Teams. And so she was trying to learn a lot of the things. And I think since there's so many agents over there, she was like, I've noticed that there's agents that do DocuSign to command one way, and then some do it another way. One of them is the way that you're mentioning, where it's just like, keep them separate, download,
Because I've
upload.
always had the separate DocuSign account,
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring it in. I know bringing it in the transaction rooms, I've been told I can do all that. But again, old school,
Yeah.
it's working.
It works, and it's maybe like an extra half step. And that's the thing. The DocuSign connectivity is useful in someone who may be new, who may, and they learn it the method of, okay, you just take it from DocuSign and you go into your transaction, you can upload it. They can allow you to sign into DocuSign and just grab it from there versus downloading and uploading it. Like it's more or less, it's the same amount of steps. There's maybe a half step extra with downloading and uploading. But if it works, it works, as long as you're able to get in.
That's what I do. I just download it to my desktop and then upload it.
Yeah, so no harm in that. I think the only difference is the other way is just it misses that step of having to put it onto your local hard drive. But unless you want to have a copy of it, then you may want to have it downloaded anyway. I mean, that's up.
I create client files, and so that way when anyone calls me, I can just pull their file on my desktop, and I could look up things a lot quicker. So that's the reason I really do it that way. It saved me a lot of time on other non-related issues by having it all on my desktop.
No, see, and that's perfect. I think that there's no issue with that at all. And that's what I think I like about the way that Command is set up, is that there's no, when I'm telling people like in the Command 101 when they're first onboarding, like there's no rule saying you have to use all of the aspects of Command. If one thing works and the other part doesn't, use the one thing. Like for example, with DocuSign, but the same thing with like a website. The website is available to you to use, and I will share the things that it can do. But if there's some other bells and whistles that you want, because it is a very structured website, right? It's directed towards the client. There's not a lot of fancy graphics or things like that may appeal to certain agents to want to present themselves in a certain way, but it gets the job done, and it knows that the client, it puts clients first. Here's what you do, cut and dry, set and forget kind of thing. But if you don't want to use it, you can create your own website. You're absolutely free to do that. And if you even wanted to, you could just use the website as a lead generation source where you can, direct people to an MLS listing to your website. So you don't have to put a link on to, Zillow, Redfin, or Realtor or whatever. If they're going into your ecosystem where they can press a click of a button, connect with you directly. But you can still have your own website. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, you can hybridize it or split them up entirely, and that's up to you. But when it comes to connecting things, there is a lot that you can do here, right? So you can connect your social media, and that's pretty easy. And just either it should say connect if you don't have one already, but you would you can add you can add as many as you want. So if you have multiple accounts, you can. Gmail, they are adding a lot of cool features coming up with email interactions. So if you connect your KW email and you have clients that have emails associated with them, Command, if you connect them, Command will recognize when something comes in from that email, and you can have it in their timeline, things like that. That'll be really useful. So yeah, you can of course have your email set up to where, of course, you can see you just log in and find it. But if you're wanting to see a timelined record of your interactions with them in your Gmail, go ahead and connect your Gmail. That'll be really, really useful. And if they're going to be adding more features like that down the road. And things with like the Google Calendar, you can set that up where you'll be able to have things automatically sync with your calendar. PieSync, that is going away with another option called what's it called? API Nation, I think is what it's called. And what API Nation is essentially the same thing as PieSync. The idea is, where is your greatest database located? Like where's your most vast database located? It's on your phone. You have all of your contacts from who knows how long, ever since you got an iPhone or an Android phone, you have your contacts recorded in your phone. And so what PieSync does is it allows you to connect that application, whether it's iCloud or Google Contacts, and you're able to have them sync with your database. The one catch there is you have to, at least with PySync, I don't know about API Nation yet, but with PySync, you'll have to have an email associated with it in order to sync, which I think is a silver lining, because I don't want things like, who do I have on my phone? Like I have some random stuff, Jimmy John's, or I don't know, like some ridiculous stuff. My boss from Idaho, when I worked at a sushi place, I don't know if I want him in my contacts. So I'm not going to worry too much about having his email in there, but like that's the idea, is as long as there's an email associated, it'll sync with it. And I think that's a really good thing, because then that's the things that maybe you don't want from your contacts. Office 365. In fact, I have not actually tried connecting my Office 365 because it expired. Ever since I graduated from college a few years back, I'm like, I have 365 at work. I don't know if I need it on my personal computer. So I don't know. I'll have to actually explore more what 365 allows you to do in Command. But of course, you got Twitter, Google AdWords. You connect your Google account here. That allows you to, I believe it with when it comes to search engine optimization, will help a lot. Command email. This I use on a weekly basis. This is how I send out the newsletters. I feel that there are things, of course, they can improve with the newsletter customization options. But I've done them enough. I've probably done over, like 30, 35 newsletters so far. And I think at this point, I got it down pat. It just takes some time, but if you want to know how to manage a newsletter, that's something we can definitely do down the road. Yeah, have you done it?
Sometime.
Yeah, no, I definitely can, because it's really nice. They have these templates in the newsletters, but when it comes to customizing it, there's some weird nuances to it. They just make sure that things stay correct. But those newsletters I send out, yeah, and they do become, it looks like they do get set up as mobile friendly and browser friendly, which is nice. Hello, sir. How you doing? Welcome. Those chips are going to be loud. If you interrupt my class, Bradley, just kidding. You're good. MailChimp. So MailChimp, it's a third-party email campaigns. It just allows you to have another option outside of Command Email. Command Email is free with those first 5,000. You can expand it to more. But if you've ever used MailChimp, I know Corinne is a big fan of MailChimp. It's more robust. It has a lot more features that you can do when it comes to blast emails with like spreadsheets or databases, but you can connect your account here. Well, that was interesting. Just decided to try to sync it. And then Twilio. So Bradley's used Twilio. I know that. I don't know, Mark, have you tried Twilio?
No.
Have you tried Twilio, Kirk?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So Twilio, it's a text message based service. So it allows you to use credits. You purchase a certain amount of credits that you want to use, and then text messages, I believe, are 1 credit, and MMSs are 3. Is that right? Do you know that? Do you know the answer, Bradley? 1 credit? Is there 2 credits per text message?
It depends on the length of the text.
Depends, like 160 characters, and then more, it'd be considered more credits. Yeah. So it's based off of how much usage you're doing, how many people you're sending it to, and the length of the text, I believe, is capped at 160. But if you're wanting to send messages to people or to your database and update them or remind them about certain things, whether it's like you have some kind of, during Christmas, you have a drive of some, like a food drive or a toy drive, and you want to notify your whole database, you can do it through Twilio, and they'll all get something. And then it's really nice. They've added new features recently with Twilio, with like allowing them to call that Twilio number, because it's a separate number from your personal one, but they're able to call it, get connected to you personally directly through that number. Granted, there are some caveats. It does use the credits towards your phone call. So it's more of like, hey, yeah, no, thanks for calling. Can I call you back on my personal number? And then hang up and call them. Like that's what people have done to work around it. But it's a really nice feature, because then anything you interact with or anything you do through Twilio, again, also connects to their database, where you'll see it in their timeline on their contact card. So it's really, really useful. Yeah, so that's all the connections that we have here. But you'll see on the left-hand side, there's a bunch of settings here. A lot of them, honestly, I don't think a lot of people even deep dive into these. But for example, like general settings, that's it. Just choosing which one you want to log into. I'll show you a trick though. If you happen to be on a team, which don't worry guys, you're not, but if you happen to ever establish a team, this is how it'd be set up. They do have a lot of features in Command now where you can, like, teams are being more and more integrated into Command, which I'm really happy they are doing. I think they focused a lot on the solo agents for a long time. And then with this bug squashing, I think they've also just in tandem kind of added a lot of the features to teams. So it's pretty fun. Yes, sir.
When is the new county?
The new what?
The new app.
The new app? Not sure. I haven't heard anything about it. I don't even know if it's. Are you talking about the Command app? Is not on my radar. I don't think they mentioned anything on Friday either. It's down the road. I know that. I think it's interesting. They have, like, the way they have it set up is there are things that are, they'll announce things that are now available to the general audience, and then things that are in labs, which is just their internal testing. So if it's not in their internal testing yet, they don't really even give us a time frame. They don't even say it's on our radar yet. So not quite sure. I'll let you know though. I'll let you know. I just hate giving people a time frame because I did it once. I said, oh yeah, no, they're gonna I think I was telling Carrie at Fox team, because she was wanting to send out an email campaign to a bunch of clients in their team. And she was like, but I'm wanting to do it from the team account, because if you have your personal account, you have your own database. But if you're connected to a team, all of your databases pull together, which is really cool, because then you can, send things to like if you want to send it to Mark's contacts, Kylie's contacts, Gary's contacts, Matt's, Chris, like all of them over there, they're all on a team, go into that Command account and can send it to everyone. And I was like, oh no, it's not available yet. But coincidentally, it's happening this Thursday. I saw it on Friday I told her on a Monday, it's like just on Friday, they said it's starting this Thursday. She's like, oh, awesome. Okay, I'll wait till then. Thursday came around, did not happen. It did not update. And I felt like an idiot. And so I told the regional tech trainer that, and she's like, yeah, rule of thumb, don't ever tell people or promise them a date, because even if it's a week later, they never meet the date. I'm like, okay, yeah, I learned my lesson. But I'll tell you when it's coming up. Okay, but yeah, so with Command settings, so applications, that's where it defaults every time you go to the settings. When you go into contacts, this is a little fun fact. There may be times you run into a situation where you delete a contact or archive a contact. You can't necessarily delete one from your database, but when you go and archive it, this is where it shows up right here. It doesn't get 100% deleted unless you go in, kind of like a recycling bin on your computer. It will show up here. So if you have a situation where you archive a contact named, Tony Stark, and then a few months later you go and add that same person, it's going to tell you this person already exists. But then you look through, you're like, no, I just checked, nothing's here. The reason is because in the contact archive, that's where it's going to be, and you have to manually get it out of the storage. It's like just sitting in like Cobweb's storage backend area back here. So contact archive, database wipe. Let's not do that, because it'll actually archive every single thing you have, or it'll delete all the things in archive. So if you want to do a situation where you've archived certain people and you're fine doing it, bulk delete all the archive contacts. You can do that here. Contact tags, they are adding, I can say this, they are adding a bulk delete tag option soon. So I don't know, I know multiple people that have been like, I added a tag when I first started using Command and I don't want it there anymore. I don't like it's attached to 180 people. Like, I don't want that. Like, I wish I could get rid of it. I have to manually go in and delete the tag from every person, because there's no like select all and delete in bulk. That is being added, but you can see all of your tags here, and you can modify the name of it. So if you happen to have, if you've now established yourself and you want to use the color coding and not have just absolute rainbow madness going on, and you want a rhyme to your reason, you can go in here and you can modify ones that already exist. So you don't have to feel like you're stuck with those certain colors. You can try to delete, but if you go and click delete, it's going to say there are contacts associated with this tag. You can't delete until they're all removed, just to let you know. Also, you can't edit any of the system tags. You'll notice, I don't know if you can notice it, Kirk, or if you guys can notice it on there, it's really dim. Actually, kind of can. So that one right there is a darker color. It's just the system tags, the ones that are built in, you can't edit or delete. Those are just part of them. Just leave them be if you don't want to worry about them. But when you go and edit, you can rename it a bit and it will actually change on the tags. And then with lead, no, you're good. No, thanks for coming in. So with like lead sources, this is where you can also modify, same with tags. So if you have your system set up to keep a record of where you're getting lead sources from, there are 86 here. You can add more sources. I'm not too familiar with this because I don't have to use any lead sources, but it's worth adding to it just so you know kind of where things came from. And then custom fields, of course, so you can add your custom fields here that aren't really necessarily tags or lead sources. And then opportunities. So when you go into the opportunity settings, this is where a lot comes into play. Maybe you guys have checked this out before, but of course you can change your time zone for when things are being sent. I believe, let's see, it says there's some important steps. This is new. In an individual opportunity, click on the client updates button to the top right to manage emails for that specific opportunity. Click the switch to activate the client's emails. Any client update changes in the opportunity will override the settings below. So yeah, just keep aware that if you do happen to have any of these settings set up this way, when you go into an opportunity in command, if you change it, it'll override for like that specific opportunity. So I don't think I can modify it because I'm not licensed, funny enough. So that's kind of funny. Oh, it's because I'm on the team. Maybe if I switched away from the team, that would help. So there we go. So now you can change your time zone if you need to, see where it's sent from. If you have multiple people on a team, that's what come down here. And then you can have it sent to the client or the co-client or just the primary, and send an email template. We can preview this and you can see, hi, we're checking things off the list. Here's a summary of tasks completed for this. So you can have it set up in your opportunities if you create the roadmap of all the checklists, that you can set up due dates so that you know you can get tasks on when things need to be done, but you can also send updates to your clients of when things are checked off on a regular basis. And so it's just a nice level of transparency that they know when you've completed things. And they're just like, wow, this person's on top of things. That's crazy. It's great.
We have all those updates that are in there. I know that there were a bunch that were assigned to each of those opportunities, and you go through and create the list and add them to them.
Yeah. Do you know where those are? I can show you real quick if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. I remember the.
Okay. Right here under resources at the very top.
Okay.
There's this checklist. This, I have to preface it by saying it's not from someone here. I think it is on Tanya and my to-do list, more on Tanya's, because she knows more than I do on this. But it's like a tertiary priority for her. She's on it, but eventually. But it's a good starting point. It does, a lot is applicable. So whether it is the buyers or the listings. So here's the listings checklist. Here's the buyers checklist. So under buyers, for example, there's the stages here, or phases. The phases being cultivate the lead, the appointments, they're active, they're under contract, and they've closed. And then under each of those phases are the stages. So like when you're cultivating, you have the watch, nurture, hot, and scheduled. They're scheduling, scheduled.
Those have to be added into each of ours.
Yeah, so it's a manual adding in, but it's as simple as clicking right here, Control copy or Control C to copy, and then just have like two windows up, run with your opportunity checklist and one with this. You just copy and paste it over, but you only do that once. It's like a one-time building the foundation. And then anytime you drag someone into the scheduling stage, all of these on here will populate. The one thing is though, is with due dates you do have to manually do, because obviously you don't want to set a due date for like October 2nd when now, like, because then it's like
Or it's not.
It's not for every single scenario, because then you have a client in November, it's like October 2nd, it's not applicable anymore, because it's just based off of each client. But yeah, so it is a one-time thing to do, but as soon as you have it done, again, it's another one of those set and forget. If you notice it's like, oh, this certain task doesn't seem to be right in this phase, you can easily just transfer it over to another phase.
Yeah, I had this separate, I had two other versions of this list, and I created, they were from the buyer, it was in the buyer side and the seller side, and I created the other side of it, and I get to upload those.
Yeah.
So the others went side by side and say they're here.
Yeah, but it is really nice. We use a similar model for agents being onboarded. Like we have, if you'll notice here, right here, Command MC for the Market Center. And we have a set situation right here under recruits where we're able to actually show a pipeline of all of the agents that are joining. So like with Jim Miller, he's a commercial agent. We have a list of things to do. So as we do them, we have it listed where it's like Brian, activate key fob, add to virtual phone system, add to master roster. So that helps us to make sure we've covered everything we need to make sure an agent is ready to start doing their deals. There are a handful of things on here, like obviously he doesn't need to have his key fob activated in order to start posting listings. So those are on priority. So I do have things down here where it's like, handing the paperwork to Heather, scanning the RMLS subscriber form, the Scott Leroy questionnaire, setting up Cloud CMA, all that kind of stuff. And what that does is then at least we know the core stuff is ready. And then some of the other things that are just kind of the excess. They'll like Brian's been working on the commission checks for Heather since she's in Spain. And so we're doing this today. So he hasn't done them before. So I'm training him on that. But it's just nice because that's the idea of the opportunities is when you have dozens of people all over the spectrum of where they're cultivating a lead all the way to where they're closing. It's so much easier to know where people are when you can just look at a checklist. You don't lose sleep over, oh, did I do that? Shoot. And then
I've been told that.
Yeah, right. And then also when you set up those due dates, if you have the Kelly app then can remind you saying, good morning, here's what you have going on today. Because you set the due date for August 18th. In the morning, you get that notification saying, here's what you need to do on your checklists, and you don't miss a beat. It's really nice. But yeah, I don't know why I'm going to opportunities. We are not on that class. That is weeks from now. Let me go to settings. And that's the thing. We can go on tangents, but I feel like I have to almost rein in a little bit because I'm like, then it's just going to be a rerun of a few weeks from now. Okay, but under settings, so the opportunity settings, managing the opportunity tags, archiving them, same idea with the contacts. When you archive, they're not deleted entirely. That's more for your security or just for your sanity. I'd hate to accidentally delete something and have it gone forever. So it's just that one last step so you don't feel like you've lost it forever. And then logs for imports and exports. So if you import anything to command or I believe export or to opportunities or export, these pop up. These are for example, I did do an export of all my contacts. I have, instead of clients on my database, it's agents, and I use it to kind of just keep a record of interactions I have with agents for follow-ups and things like that. So if you ever need the situation, for example, that you did an export. Let's say you did an export today of all your contacts into a spreadsheet. And then like 2 years down the road, you've built up your database, but you want to go back and see, oh, that original export that I did when I first started, those original like OG clients, I want an export of just them. You can go in and see a log of all of your exporting history, which is actually really nice. It just keeps another record of your activity so you don't forget what you've done and when you did it. With marketing profile, this is where this is stuff that will show up to clients. So for your website. So for here, of course, adding a photo, it has to be 360 by 360 pixels. The way I've had it work around, and Kirk, we talked about this last week with Command. This is one of the things, Canva. This is one of the things you can do with Canva is on Canva, you can set up that you want your project to be strictly 360 by 360 pixels. And so I've had times where agents will ask me, hey, can you resize my photo? Because I've told them I know I can do it. And they'll send me their photo. I'll drag it into Canva, into that project of 360 by 360 and download. And so even though they gave me a photo that's like 30 megabytes, because it was a high res photo from a professional photographer, they need that 360 by 360 pixels for things like Command or for LinkedIn or for Slack or whatever they're wanting to add it to that has a lower res. You can do that through Canva, and it's a free way you can do it. So it's kind of nice. Team logos. So you can add either the Keller Williams logo, which is what I have here, or if you happen to have your own logo, it doesn't necessarily need to be a team. And that will pull into your website as well in the top left next to your face. Of course, your names and details. I just have it as Director of Agent Services. I guess that's all I got. They do have this new feature, which is really cool, called for military affiliation. So if you know any agents that happen to be, I don't know if you either of you served in the military?
I did.
You did? Yeah. So Kirk, what you can do in here is you can actually say, as a new thing that started this last week, you can say you're a veteran, your reserves, active duty, and that military affiliation will show up. I believe they're going to be adding more affiliations down the road. This one tends to be a little more, let's just say, bipartisan. But there'll be other ones. So like if someone wants to showcase that they are, that they're part of the LGBTQ community, they'll be able to add that, or, whatever else they want to do. Because there are clients that they are attracted to specific affiliations. Maybe perhaps they're just like, oh, I happen to be part of the LGBTQ community. This agent is too. That'll, it incentivizes a good connection there, or an initial connection through the website. So those are things that be added over time. They'll add more, but it's really cool. You can just go in and add that. Bio, I don't have anything personally, but highly recommend adding something because this will pull into your website and your About Me. So go ahead and do that. Check for typos, obviously, but this is a way you can just modify it really quickly. In fact, I think on the here it says right here, this bio will be used when you are found via an agent search on kw.com or your Market Center site. Okay. Of course, contact information. We don't change the Market Center information. That should all stay pretty standard. Legal footer. I usually go in when I set up a new account, it'll say this information is not guaranteed and should be verified, I think is what I add. So something like that. Not guaranteed, should be verified. It helps to just make sure that people aren't being like, you said on your website that, it's like, whatever. Should be guaranteed or should be verified. Legal footers, so that's like the realtor logo and the housing logo. I usually add those as well when I create an account. If you don't have it, let me know. I'm more than happy to do these things. And that's actually another good thing to mention. I work with Scott Leroy and I communicate with them almost on a daily basis for different agents and different things. Scott Leroy does a lot more than I think even I realize. Sometimes I'm surprised how much they do. So if you're wanting to modify or change anything, whether it's a web page, you want to add or import a spreadsheet to your contacts, or you want to modify things like this, but you're just not, either don't have the time or you don't exactly want to mess up anything, let me know. Either call me, text me, email me what you want to do, and I will communicate with Scott Leroy for you. I can send you their email if you want to just send it, just cut out the middleman. I'm absolutely okay with that. But I'm more than happy to contact them too, because I do it all the time and I have almost like templates of emails sent to them, so I don't have to waste time conjuring up the wording. So for example, with imports, it happens a lot. Imports can be difficult because when you're importing a spreadsheet to your contacts, there's so many things that can go wrong because, oh, you didn't put the phone numbers are in the wrong format, or for some reason, maybe you accidentally just put a letter where there should be, where that cell or that column doesn't accept letters, only numbers, whatever it is. And then you get these errors from command that's saying, hey, we couldn't upload these. It didn't work. It doesn't give you full details. Scott Leroy's done it 1,000 times. And they actually, if you send them the spreadsheet, you can just say, hey, can you upload this to my command? Here's my login info. They already have it anyway. Don't worry. They already know your login info. They just want to make sure they get the right one. But you send it over to them. They will format it for you in the proper format for command. And they'll say, does this look right? You just say, Yep. And then they'll upload it for you. It's really easy. It may take a day or two, but they get it done. It's really nice. And they're the kindest people on the planet. So if you have any issues or want to modify anything on your account, but maybe don't know how, either I can walk you through it or Scott Leroy can help. All right. So with that's about it. Actually, when it comes to settings, that's about it. Command MC settings, don't worry about that. That's strictly mine. Funny enough, global settings has absolutely nothing on it. So I don't know what it wants to be. I don't think it knows what it wants to be yet. Okay, but I just want to show you one more thing and we'll get going. Unless you guys have questions, I'm more than what we have time. So we can go over a handful of things. So one thing they are adding, which is kind of nice, are these blue banners at the top on the home screen. So, you know, we're talking about Mega Camp. I know we do it on our website as well, but you can actually go to the website here and you can just go straight into the Mega Camp. What do you call it? Home or Mega Camp page, subpage. But here as well, you can go click straight here and it should take you to megacamp.kw.com, more or less. Eventscloud.com, same difference. Excuse me, but you can register here. And then your all new KW app is here. Follow this guide to customize and brand the app to your business. So I can go in and explore, and I will talk. I think I do at some point want to talk about the Kelly guides. Those are underutilized. What's the word? Underestimated, underappreciated, under anything is what the Kelly guides are. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those banners though. A neat little feature here. So if you ever use the home screen, there's this option up here for customizing the home screen. I have it the way I want because I personally, not having clients, I am focused on what's new in designs, what's new with the product updates. I'm following this as religiously, like it's part of my job. So I of course, I'm looking at what's happening in the consumer app. Like agents are now able to display their military service affiliation. So I knew about that beforehand, or the consumer app and web. So international listings are now live. Or Bermuda. So if you want to search anything for Bermuda, you can now. Bulk removal of tags. Users are now able to remove tags. Oh, wait. Guys. That was on Monday? Oh, they did it earlier than I expected. There you go. I know I just said earlier, you cannot bulk remove tags. Bulk removal of tags. Users are now able to remove tags in bulk in contacts. Awesome. So if I go click here, it's probably going to take me to, where are you going to take me to? That took me to nowhere. So let's actually go check it out real quick. That's really exciting because I have a tag I want to get rid of, I think. Up, tags, KWPP agent, Premier. There's one. I think it's just agent because I have the KWPP agent. I don't need agent. So is there any? Yeah, so I have all these. I have KWPP agent and agent. I don't want to have both of them on here. So it's one thing I want to get rid of. So I have it showing one of 143. So I know that I can just select all. Let's see, we're going to add bulk tags, removed. Oh my gosh. I've never been so excited about a stupid feature. So now I can remove tags. I'm concerned though. We're going to find out what happens right now. Okay, good. I was like, let's go remove all of them. So now I can go select which tag I want to remove the selected.
That works.
Maybe it's probably just going like in the background, like going really, really slow. Otherwise, we're just gonna sit here for a second and figure out. Guessing the more you have selected on that tag, the longer it's gonna take. But suspense is killing me, guys. Makes me nervous. All right, so it removed them because I still have that filter on. So now if I remove the filter, I apply. Oh, no one has a tag. Oh, that is lovely.
There you go. Cleaned up.
Lovely. Oh, okay. I mean, there's more exciting things in this world, but that is, for me, it's great. Okay. Now I can tell people though, that's awesome. I failed at my job not knowing that happened on Monday. But yeah, I was going to mention, so I have it customized the way that I want it, but I can go into customize home and you can add and modify where you want these widgets to be. So I think by default, things like recent leads is at the bottom. So if this is something that you want to be more fully aware of, you can put this up here, or you can even bring it over to here. Actually, no, I think they have to stay in the same. Yeah, so I think it's this column stays the same and this column stays the same, maybe. Yeah. So for example, you may not worry too much about your database health, but you want to definitely worry about your tasks. You may not worry too much about the product updates because you're like, I can rely on Austin. Then, and maybe you want to put a notepad up here further up so you can jot down notes. Then when you click apply, switches around and you're good to go. I have a recent lead 34 days ago when I created Tony Stark, and that's it. So it's a nice way of being able to customize, and who knows, one day they may make it more entertaining. I love it if they made a dark mode. I'm a dark mode person and I want it. So maybe one day. But that is it. I will actually end early. Unless Kirk, do you have any questions?
No,
You're good?
I'm good.
All right. But yeah, we'll no class next week just because of Mega Camp or whatnot. But going forward, I'll start conjuring up what the classes will be and have those scheduled throughout. So there's no mystery. So
Sounds good.
all right. Thank you, Mr. Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think Tyler should be here. So fingers crossed.
I like the new clock up there, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, that was a feat. That like I use staples to go all the way along and make sure it's
Easy to see it, and it's on time.
good. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you. All right, we'll see you, Kirk. Take care, man.
See you later.
Later.